The following video is a training that I did for a high-level agency mastermind where I outlined my entire LinkedIn method to be able to book 30 to 50 calls every single month, sign a lot of clients, and also take my personal brand from around 0 to 3,000 followers on LinkedIn. And this video specifically is on my content strategy, how I've systemized that, templatized everything. And this is actually what I used to take my previous agency, my lead generation agency, from 0 to 20K a month, using pretty much content and outreach on LinkedIn. All right, welcome back to the LinkedIn program. In this video, we are going over content creation. Now, over here, you can see that I've been posting content for a while. Actually, I've been posting in like a month. But as you can see, just to give some context, this post was seen by 3,100 people. And of those 3,100 people, many of them are founders, co-founders, owners, CEOs of agencies. So these are reaching hundreds of my ideal prospects every single day that I post. And that's obviously valuable because people are going to see it, they're going to build trust with me, and they're going to book calls and want to come on as a client. And honestly, to give a quick story, posting content has honestly changed my entire business. Because when I first started, I thought I was bad at sales. So I could easily book meetings, I could easily get people onto calls, but I could never close them. Even though my prices were incredibly low, people still wouldn't get started. And the biggest change that I made was I started posting content. Every single day I post something useful, something that I've learned throughout the process, and it's really just honestly blown up because people would come onto calls. People would come onto calls and they'd already know me, they'd already trust me, they'd already like me. So because of that, when they got onto the call, they were pretty much ready to buy. And it wasn't a sales problem, it was a marketing problem. So the biggest change that I made was starting to post content. And the benefits are honestly endless. By posting content, you're going to meet other people that really resonate with what you're saying. They're going to reach out to you. You're going to make friends. Obviously making friends wasn't my goal, but it just happens regardless. Endless opportunities will come your way if you start posting content. And the best thing is on LinkedIn, you don't have to get onto camera if you don't want to. I would recommend you do, like for YouTube, for example, but you don't have to. When I started, I just posted text posts, right? And it still worked incredibly well because people got value. They saw my name every day. They started trusting me, started liking me, and they started buying from me too. So let's get into content creation. There's really only two reasons why people don't create content, besides being shy or introverted, is that they don't know what to talk about and they don't know how to say it. So in this video, I'm going over how to solve both of those problems. Firstly, let's go into, I don't know what to talk about. Cool. So use this workflow to create an endless stream of content topics, invest this time once, and you'll receive the benefits for years. So for me, my marketing strategy at this point is deliver insanely good results and just talk about it. That's it. Talk about how I did it, talk about why I decided to do it, things like that. So for you, just define what you're doing for your clients. Now, if you don't have clients, define the skills that you're learning to deliver for your clients. So for example, if you're just starting but you want to learn email marketing, you can talk about what you're learning as you go along. And then, just talk about it. So obviously if you have clients, define what you do. So for example, sales consulting, more sales for e-com brands, mindset coaching, and you want to write that down. So then you want to break this one thing down into the 3 to 10 major components of it. So for example, if someone chose high performance coaching, the major components would be sleep, diet, decision-making, fitness, productivity. There may be more, but it's an example. Then for each of these components, you want to break the smaller component, the major component, into micro components. So for example, high performance coaching, then we're choosing one of the major components, productivity, and we're breaking productivity down into micro components. So focus, eliminating distractions, prioritization, work environment. So in my case, I talk about client acquisition. A major component is lead generation. So I talk about offers, social outreach, email outreach, cold calling. And now do that. But once you're done, and it should be very quick, I want to make this as simple as possible. So it's not a lot of work, just do it. And then you should have a huge list of topics. Now you know exactly what to post about in terms of content, in terms of topics. In the next 5 seconds, you'll learn exactly how to post. So, going back to it, templates. So I've created a system where we can systemize content creation, right? We're not waking up every morning, spending 45 minutes with a blank screen in front of us thinking, what can I write about today? Because that's a big waste of time. And I don't like to waste time. So the biggest creators in the space, the biggest creators in any space of content creation, they follow a system. It's not luck, right? The biggest or the most successful people in anything, they follow a system. It's not luck. So we can do the same for content creation. So what I've done here is, and I learned this from Justin Walsh, to give credit where it's due, is that he's found that the biggest creators on LinkedIn and Twitter, they do not necessarily come up with everything themselves. They pretty much copy many other people. So what they did was, and what I did as well, was I went onto Twitter, I went onto LinkedIn, and I found the highest converting posts. So posts that, got thousands and thousands of likes. And I found the commonalities between them. So for example, this over here is a very successful post by Justin Walsh. As you can see, got 1,700 likes, how to build a one-person business. So obviously, we're probably not talking about how to build a one-person business. But what we can get from this is the format. Because what this shows is that this is a winning format. So the way the post is structured, the headline, comparing the old way versus the new way in a very simple, easy to read format, and then a quick thing to end it off. This is a proven format. And what this means for us, because it's got all these likes, because it's proven, it means that we can just plug our information into these formats. So if we're talking about how to sign agency clients, right? The old way, I don't know, knock on people's doors, send business cards, attend in-person events. The new way, optimize your LinkedIn profile, do social outreach, build a personal brand, automate it. And the new way versus the old. So if you're talking about, I don't know, email marketing, how to do email marketing, old way. I'm not going to embarrass myself talking about email marketing, but you get the point. So what I've done is I compiled a huge list of templates in major types of content, and you can just plug your things into this. And this will give you a strong foundation to start your outreach. To start your content, right? So you can use this as a base, as a foundation to get you started. But quickly, I want to give you some key lessons that I've learned through creating the content. Now, obviously, the information is extremely important. But if the information is not presentable, it's difficult to actually read, then no one's going to read it, So what we need to do is present our content on LinkedIn in the best way possible. So there's some key lessons that I've learned in doing this. And I'm just going to go through my post as an example. So the first things you want to realize is that on LinkedIn, only the first 3 lines are shown to a person scrolling through their feed. That's all they see. So for example, if we go to the feed, okay, I have mine off now. But if we go to the feed, what you're going to see is only the first few lines are shown. So 1, 2, 3, right? So what this means is that we need to get their attention as quickly as possible with the first and second line. So this is pretty much advertising. So if you've ever studied advertising, copywriting, then you'll understand this, is that this should get their attention. This is the hook. Then we carry on, maintain their attention, and then get them to read the next. Because you'll get their attention with this keep their attention with this, and you get them to click the see more button with this line. And once they click the see more button, then they're invested. They're more likely to read the entire post, and you can go from there. So key lesson, make the first line extremely appealing, catch their attention. Think of a YouTube title, advertising billboard, or like a headline of an ad. Gets their attention, keeps their attention, gets them to click see more. Then, another thing, see how I structure this post. I don't talk about this in one super long paragraph, right? It's not just one long just chunk of words. What I do is I make one point every single line and I leave a space. So on top of that, I also speak incredibly simply. So I don't say, so what I am saying is, I booked over 500 agency meetings using cold email. Headline, gets their attention. Leave a space. This is my most successful script. Space, I'll be outlining this, and this. Right? So as you can see, it's incredibly simple. I'm not using big words. In fact, I'm doing the opposite. I'm trying to use as simple words as possible because, again, we want this to be as digestible as possible. We don't want to overcomplicate things. We don't want to confuse people because obviously 3,000 people saw this. I can imagine that out of that 3,000, some of them, half of them are below average IQ. Crazy, right? Half of them, are below average. So if that's the case, then we need to account for, we need to account for those people as well. But no, really, the same in advertising, the same in copywriting. Key lessons that you'll learn is that the goal is not to sound smart. The goal is to, make the reader feel smart. And that's by understanding your ideas. And they're not going to understand it if it's complicated. They're not going to understand it if it's difficult to read, Right. The next thing is that I keep it super simple. Firstly, I just mentioned that. But also, I only speak about things that I've done. That is one of the biggest lessons that I've ever learned, is that what I see all over LinkedIn and all over YouTube, it's people talking about how to become a billionaire, how to become rich for the rest of your life, how can, millionaire morning routine, and they're not a millionaire. So people are going to call you out for that. Not necessarily by saying in your comments oh, this guy's a liar, but by just not watching it because they don't trust you. It's why would they learn a billionaire morning routine from you, who's not a billionaire, versus Warren Buffett or Ray Dalio, Tom Bilyeu, So only speak about things that you've actually done. And if you haven't done anything, then do something before creating content. Because I could talk about anything, but I choose to only speak about things that I do every single day, which is book meetings with email, LinkedIn, and sign clients using systemized sales processes and scaling agencies. That's all I talk about. And before I did all of this other stuff, I just spoke about cold email. I just spoke about LinkedIn, right? My entire LinkedIn was based off of signing clients from LinkedIn. That's how I started. So make sure you keep those in mind as you go along. And in terms of the next steps, you might be asking frequency. So how often do you post? And I'll be honest, the more you post, the better. It's that simple. The more you post, the better. I posted once a day when I started out, just to get traction, to just get good at posting in general. Posted once a day. So I recommend you do the same, because just knock it out first thing in the morning. You're going to get good at it. It's going to be difficult when you start, but the goal is to take imperfect action. Just get good, just start, and you'll become good over time. So besides that, in terms of action items, what I'd really recommend you do now is create your first piece of content. Do it right now. Just literally complete this workflow, get your core components, choose one of your micro components, say email outreach, pick one of the templates, super simple. Let's find a nice easy one. This one. So let's say we've got outreach. Let's say LinkedIn outreach, right? Because we're on the topic. LinkedIn outreach is 10% your 10% timing, 20% your message, and 70% your profile. That's a post. And I've probably used that exact post and it did pretty well. He got 1,200 likes. So that's the action item. Just post your first piece of content, right? Make sure your profile is optimized first, but just post it. No one's going to care. No one's going to see. You care more about yourself than anyone else. So don't worry about it. You'll be fine. World's not going to explode. And then we can go from there.